The team was like, we can take care of that. That'd be fine.
Wow, that's an amazing piece of feedback.
I came to Fora Soft with a host of wild ideas.
That's so great. You cannot, think of something that was before.
Cut this as I think about what I'm actually going to say. The team also helped me dream larger.
First of all, let me greet you once again. Thank you for joining the interview. So, yeah, my first question to you will be if you could tell a little bit about your product, about your project. What is it? Who is it for? Like, where the idea, came from.
Yeah, definitely. So the product is Speed Space. It came from the need in during the pandemic to have a remote recording solution. And we had developed our own mishmash of different applications to accomplish the same thing. And towards the end, the demand was still so high that we figured it'd be a good investment to develop an application that fits us our exact needs and is a unified system
Mhm.
to help us achieve our goals. And what it allows us to do is, it gives us the added benefit of before we were recording, kind of like how we are now,
Yeah.
where I'm remote and the person that's interviewing me is also remote, and we're not able to record locally. So if I have an internet connection issue, it would pass through. But this application records on the computer itself. So the file keeps its integrity no matter what the internet is, as long as it doesn't completely die out.
Yeah.
Uh, yeah, so it keeps the interview alive. It keeps it going.
Yeah. I see. So basically, it's just a real, film studio brought into the digital world.
That's the idea. Yeah, it's take
Yeah.
your recording, take your set, your studio, put it in the cloud,
Yeah.
and kind of bring it to everyone's desktop as well. It's not just in the cloud. It
Yeah.
functions on
That's
everyone's
it.
desk as well.
Well, that's great. Great. And like, did you come to us like with only an idea for that, or maybe you have already had some, MVP or like some wireframes, whatever, tangible?
Yeah, I came to Fora Soft with a host of wild ideas that needed to be tamed and
Yeah, I see.
and told what's realistic and what's not.
Hmm.
At the same time, the team also helped me dream larger than I was. In some areas, I wasn't dreaming hard enough of things that I didn't think were possible. But the Fora Soft team was able to help me show me that there's things that I wasn't even thinking of, or things that I didn't want to present because I thought it was too outlandish and too far fetched. But when in reality, the team was like, we can take care of that. That'd be fine.
Wow, that's an amazing piece of feedback. Yeah, thank you so much for these words. Um, okay, and how long has it been since the launch, or haven't you launched yet?
It hasn't been a public launch, but
I
at
see.
this time, it's an internal tool, and we're using it on real projects with big names behind them. We want to stand behind it on our own first before we turn it public.
Yeah, I
Um,
see.
so in a way, it's kind of like a limited release, if you will.
Yes, and how is it going, if I may ask?
Yeah, it's going well. We had our first project run with it a few weeks ago, and we're wrapping up post production on it, and it worked fantastic. It actually fit the need exactly. The person we were interviewing didn't have great internet connection, and
Yeah.
we had them set up with two cameras, a newer laptop, which was fine, and their older laptop, which struggled a little bit. And while I could see when we're interviewing that it was a little choppy, when we got that file and we use it in the edit, it was perfectly fine. There was no problems whatsoever.
So you are, well, I can tell you're content with the results.
Yes. Yes.
I'm happy to hear that. Um, so, um, my next question is, how is before um, you came to Fora Soft is different from the after? Obviously, you mentioned that we have to dream bigger, which I'm happy to hear once again. But maybe there was some, like more tangible things like figures. Maybe you expected to have, I don't know, some specific scalability and we make it bigger or something like this.
Yeah, yeah. If I'm understanding correctly, where were some specifics that Fora Soft helped me
Yeah,
go
like
large?
figures basically. Yeah.
Sorry, one more time.
Like figures specifically.
Oh, figures. Financially.
No, we're not we're not, talking about that part. Like um
Hmm.
maybe you like expected some specific number of like crew members, for example, the system to handle, and like
Oh, I see what you
we
mean.
made
Okay.
it
Yes,
like
yes, yes.
greater.
Okay. Yeah. I think some of the areas that Forest helped me dream larger were more in concept and features. Um, we're going to cut this as I think about what I'm actually going to say. um, what did we? What were some of those ideas? Um, I mean, some of them were so basic, like can we get a holding room? And it's like, of course, yeah, we could do that. Like,
Yeah.
okay, to me, it's been like something that's so far fetched, but it's quite small. One of the ways that Fora Soft helped me dream larger was, for example, I'm used to in my traditional web conferencing tools to not be able to control our talents, webcams, lights, or anything like that. What
Yeah.
Fora Soft helped me dream larger on was to let me know that that is possible. It wasn't something that I thought I could even ask to have developed. But in kind of teasing and poking it out, Forsoft helped me to understand that oh, that's very real. That's a possibility that can happen. So now we're able to enjoy, the possibility of having to take control of our talents, camera, microphone, light, um, so we can have greater control over our set that is sitting on their desktop with
Yeah.
their own, you know, equipment.
I see. And could you give a little, highlight to how exactly you do that? Because to me, it seems a bit, too cool to imagine to bring to reality.
Like the use case of it or the technical, like how it's done.
Like the use case, for example, yeah, I think it would be more useful.
Okay. So actually a good use case for me actually right now, for example, if I had a proper, uh, or let's say this, a good example for this is, I'm using an external webcam at the moment, and I do also have a webcam built in on my computer. What this allows me to do is, if I don't know how to change those, me sitting in front of my own computer, um, the remote team through this application is able to make that settings change from afar. So me, when I join this, I can just sit back and everything happens for me. My camera is set, my microphone is set. If I have a
Wow.
light connected, yeah,
It's like all inclusive for the talent.
yeah, yeah, exactly. And there was a bit of a lie there because I don't actually have a webcam connected to my
Okay.
computer, but it's relevant.
I see. I see. That's great. Um, okay, so and now about you know, um the part about challenges and obstacles, difficulties. Were there any that you've, you know, faced working with Forasoft?
I think the biggest challenge in Fora Soft wasn't a problem of their own. It was us being new. So being new to developing an application for the first time, there's a lot to learn. And there's a lot of hand holding, honestly, that needs to happen. And the team was patient to, to go through, with me and the team to, walk us through this entire process. So yes, while it might have been done in a few months, Forsoft was able to take that walk with us and teach us along the way and go at a slower pace so that we can better understand and be prepared to be a better client in the future.
Oh, I see. I see. And what do you think specifically in the team members made that possible besides patience? Maybe like
Yeah, yeah.
communication style or whatever.
Yeah, it's up and down the chain, right? So everyone from, our initial contact that walked us through high level on how things work and billing and rate structures. So to get us onboarded of, how is our money spent and at what stages,
Mhm.
all the way down to project management and, the updates every week of this is what we got accomplished. This is what we're looking to do next week. Is this at a good pace for you? Do you want to go faster, slower? And, having both of those lines of communication open at the same time was really helpful to be able to moderate, speed up, slow down, change this, which was the biggest thing, I think was, if things went too fast because we're new, we might lose the opportunity to be able to say, oh, we wanted this change. Sorry, it was miscommunication. I don't know. So in being able to ask, okay, going a bit slower, it allows us the time to more methodically be like, okay, I see how this was communicated. This feature was actually supposed to be in this way. Things like that. It allows us to make our adjustments out of our own inexperience, with knowing how to go through a development process for an application.
Mhm. And speaking of you being new to having a product developed, um, was Fora Soft your first choice when you were like looking for a contractor? Maybe you've been considering someone else, or
Yeah. Oh gosh, this was a while ago. This must have been about 2 years ago when I was looking through,
oh,
uh, you know, scoping out of different vendors, and I'm pretty sure I got through Foresoft through Upwork. Someone has their profile posted up there, and I remember I was looking through of who can develop an application, and the other vendors that I was looking through, they were a single developer, an individual.
mm,
And when I had reached out to the point person for Forest that introduced me to the team, I instantly saw the value of having an entire team behind it, and
mm,
the not just reliability and dependability that I would gain in going through a full agency rather than a single developer, um, but the skills and the creativity to be able to approach a challenge like the one that I was presenting, and be able to tackle it like it's nothing. I have tried to go to other independent ones in, since for much smaller projects that I just don't think is worth Forest time, honestly. And
oh,
I'm glad. And looking back, I'm very happy that I made the move to go with Foresoft for this large project because I'm struggling just to even find someone to do this very small one. And I can't imagine the complications I would have had if I didn't go with Foresoft on this one.
well, I believe on behalf of the entire team, I'm happily inviting you to have your products, smaller products developed at our company. We would be happy to collaborate with you once again. Um, okay, so and besides creativity, for example, that you just mentioned, um, what parameters, if I may, do you find the most, crucial for your contractor to have? And do you think we, filled in all the checkboxes?
Yeah. Uh, what we were looking for in a vendor on this, primarily communication, harkening
Mhm.
back to, us being new, we need that very clearly. And, the over communication even is something we were
Mhm.
looking for. Not just that, but what we were asking for was technically difficult, and we needed someone that was well versed in that space, in video conferencing, and being able to manipulate that and turn it into a professional tool. And I'm happy to say that Forsoft checked both of those boxes.
That's lovely to hear. And well, I think that was my last question. I think you filled all our checkboxes for this interview. So thank you once again for joining me today. And I wish you a great week, a great day, working day. Yeah, and I would love to see you again for another interview, for another project that you will hopefully do with us.
It'd be my pleasure, and hopefully I'll be a bit more prepared for you next time. Sorry, setup is not ideal.
Yeah, thank you so much. Thank you so much.